Hello friends, today we are into the third session of our discussion on medical research fundamentals. Our today discussion will be about literature review. First of all, why should we perform a literature review? It saves us from the work because this is a path in which we will be like a kind of summarizing the old publications or the present knowledge on that topic of interest. And this helps us to know the subject much better and suggests how new a research topic could be and the questions and methods that can be used in a research. First of all, this literature review is not just a summary. It is a platform for information seeking, and in this we will be scanning the literature efficiently using manual or computerized methods to identify a set of potentially useful articles or books. And in this way we will create a habit of critical appraisal, that is, apply the principles of analysis to identify those studies which are unbiased and valid and take into consideration those studies. And so literature review is an organized search. This includes first organizing the info, relating it to the research question, and then synthesizing results, like creating a summary of what is and what is not known. And then we have to analyze and identify the lacunae or the lack of knowledge from those literatures which we are getting. And then we have to frame a research question for further research. In a large document collection, a subset of documents whose content is most relevant to the user's needs. It is as simple as that. Among all the materials which is available, we are choosing or selecting those which are crucial for our platform of research, and this can be done via database organizations, and the user can use a structure of query or which can be user defined to segregate those literatures which are needed. It can be done by using indexing, that is, cover all indexing is something that covers all the terms in the database, and so we can search it via common and frequent terms on those topics, and this is used as a delimiter, that is, it helps us to fastly search the topics which we want to know. And where can we start to search the resources? Generally, we can get it from HON, that is Health on Net certified sites, and we can make use of the search engines like Google. And by the time when we are approaching this, we will have some query in our mind. So for that specific query, we have to search in platforms like Pubmed, Scopus, or Google Scholar database. And from this we can get the full text articles of those articles which we are getting into, and they can be either free open access journals or some fee based journals from libraries. And then we have to choose which among them is evidence based, and we can furthermore segregate them according to the quality, like for example choosing for searching the topics. Pubmed is the most common used platform for searching literatures, and it contains more than 25 million citations. It is maintained by NCBI, that is National Center for Biotechnology and Biotechnological Information, and in US NLM, that is National Library of Medicine, and it is under NIH, that is National Institute of Health of US. It is a free open access via PMC, that is Pubmed Central, for full text articles. And this USNLM has their own predefined sets of vocabularies which we can use for searching our desired literatures. And there is a term called MESH, that stands for medical subject headings, and this is an NLM controlled vocabulary thesaurus used for indexing the articles for Pubmed. And in this, if we use keywords in the abstract which are in concordance with MESH, then our article would be identified by a set of systematic query mechanisms. Thus, it can help us to save the time in searching. And the Pubmed tutorial on the left hand side of the window, if we open and see the Pubmed, it will contain lots of newer updates and options, like we can search via mesh terminologies or single citation manager we can use, or we can search by name of authors or year wise or article wise or study design wise. Whatever is feasible for us, we can search via the latest updates of Pubmed. And searching in a database, we can use something called as Boolean query, which will even more save our time. For example, database would limit the informations of those articles which are concerned with lung and infections, which can be represented as shown in this Venn diagram, like the shaded areas which having overlapping informations of both lung and of information and of infections can be displayed in this. And we also have the Boolean queries like or not. In or is actually something that makes the search huge. In this thing, we can get both articles on lung and on infections, so it will have a huge number of articles displayed. And then we have something called as not, that is lung not infections, so that will even more limit the search, like it will display only the articles concerned on lung but not about the infections. And selecting the studies for literature review, the first step should be read and critic studies. Like after organized segregations by means of this year wise search or author wise search and using Boolean queries and all, we will have to first organize those articles, and then we have to read and critic studies. That is, we have to know which one should be relied upon and which one should not be relied upon. Like for example, RCT, meta-analysis, and so on, which we have to select those things, and then we have to select those with good quality. We have to analyze it scholarly but not critically. It means like that we should not expect for some article without even a point of error, because even if you are a researcher on that place, then we good article and a bad article should be scholarly and not a very critical way. And then we have to compare the methods, research results and findings. Before that, we have to make a kind of tableau column like of thing, in which we should include the headings of which article it is, when it was published, what was its aim, and what was the methodology used, and what was the results obtained, place of study. Such kind of summary table we have to make, and then we have to compare among themselves. This is the sample of that table which we have to make. For example, citations, design which is used, objectives, study population, study sample, and what are the measurable outcomes and results of those studies, and the conclusions. And our search should be like from recent to past, for being more updated on that field. These are table we have to then summarize for looking upon what lack of knowledge is there, and what we have to include, what method we can incorporate to make the study easy, and such kind of things. And then we have to write a literature review. Writing a literature review contains a specific format. It includes first introduction, like what is the purpose of review, what is the whether it's an organizational review, or what is the basis for ordering such thing, and we have to arrange it from most important to least and earliest to most recent. And then we have empirical literature, that which includes the quality studies relevant to the topic, and then we have to explain each study using a paraphrasing rather than direct quotes. We have to read it and write it in our own words. And our critical appraisal should be a kind of scholarly can be accepted. And then we have to make a kind of summary which includes the concise presentation of the research knowledge about the selected topic, and what is known and what is not known, and what are the lacunae in that topic. And there are some ethical issues which we have to keep in mind in literature review. The contents from that studies should be presented honestly, like it should be studied detailedly and then presented. We should not just take a part of it and make that study useless. And then we have to address the weaknesses of the study, and that weaknesses should be done in a scholarly way, that is in a professional way, and it should not be like a very critical and very blind way of criticizing. And the sources should be accurately documented using Vancouver or Harvard style, so that the further followers can also go on to those literatures and review them for some other study in which these literatures can also be useful. So that's all about the literature review. I hope you all have a good time in this, and stay tuned for our next session on measures of disease frequency. Thank you.